Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Paula from Paula's DIY Decor, and I'm the crafter from Down Under. Well, today I'm super excited to bring to you the first part of my Easter series. I've got 3 fabulous DIYs, and for our first DIY, I want to share with you how I made this gorgeous rustic bunny wreath. You're going to need a template of a bunny, a wreath form, some little foam styrofoam eggs, some napkins, glue and some scissors. Now the bunny template that I used, I just went onto the internet and I downloaded a free bunny template. All you're going to do is use that template to cut out on a piece of material that you might have likely in your stash, because I certainly did have some. I like to collect materials as we go along when they catch my eye, whenever I go to a craft store, because I always think material is so handy to use as ribbons or to use in different crafting materials like this stuffed bunny. So once you've traced out your stuffed bunny or your bunny shape, all you're going to do is use your hot glue gun and you're going to seal the edges of that material together. I just had some pillow stuffing handy and I popped it inside my bunny. You might need to use a little shish kebab or a skewer just to push that stuffing through into the ears. Sometimes they're a little bit difficult. And then I just cut up a little popsicle stick to create a base for the bunny so that I could hot glue the ends of my bunny shape to the stick. And as you can see here, I really wanted to use that popsicle stick to allow my bunny to stand upright. Next, I wanted to create a little necklace and a little bow for my bunny, and I had this beautiful lace ribbon in my stash. You can find lace ribbon in your local craft store or one of those discount stores. And once I had I wrapped the ribbon around the little bunny's neck, I created a bow by simply I created 2 loops and I glued them in the center because I wanted the bow to be as flat as possible. So rather than creating a shoelace tie bow, I actually split the componentry of the bow into different pieces. So I created the tails first so it lay nice and flat, and then by simply creating the bows and using the hot glue and then using a little bit of jute twine to tie it in the center, then I had a nice flat bow for the bunny because I didn't want the bow to kind of overshadow or overtake the bunny shape. And then to add a little bit more dimension to the bow, I created a sweet little shoelace bow using some jute twine. And once I cut down the tails, I then also hot glued that jute twine to the top of the lace bow. To give the wreath that extra Easter feel, I used the leftover material from the bunny shape and I cut it into strips and began to cover up my polystyrene Easter egg shapes with the strips. Now I did want this wreath to look rustic and country style and sort of farmhouse feel, so it didn't bother me that the strips weren't perfectly covering the Easter egg shape. That was the whole idea. So all I did was I just used the strips and using my hot glue, I just wrapped the egg round and around with the strips until I had it covered, and then I used a bit of Mod Podge to just seal the entire Easter egg together. And that way then I could use the same material as my bunny to tie in the entire Easter wreath form. I found this beautiful napkin in one of my discount stores here in Australia, and I thought I would cover up the next Easter egg using this paper napkin. I love to decoupage different types of home decor pieces, and this beautiful napkin has got little Easter bunny shapes on it, and so I used that with some Mod Podge. All I did was I stripped away some of the layers until I got to the bottom ink layer, and then I gently ripped the design out into sort of rough circles. The jagged edges allow you to Mod Podge onto the Easter egg, and I simply just laid each piece with Mod Podge until it was fully covered. And then to complete my Easter egg design, I then also used some ribbon. These are strips of ribbon that I cut up again, and using the same concept as the material in terms of the first egg, I just laid down the strips of ribbon onto the Easter egg using my Mod Podge to adhere it all together and let it set it aside to dry. Now, to begin decorating the actual wreath itself, I used 3 different types of floral. I used some greenery and 2 different types of florals, these beautiful yellow sort of bell-shaped flowers, and some beautiful pink little rose type of flowers. I don't know the exact name of the florals, but I wanted to create kind of like a I didn't want to cover the entire wreath because I really like this wreath form. I didn't stain it either. I left it natural because the look I was going for was more of a blonde sort of wood type of decor in this series. So I left it natural with that nice blonde coloured wood, and I thought it picked up the colours really nicely with these soft pinks and these light green fern looking type of leaves. So all I did was I cut up all of my flowers and my greenery, and I just arranged it around the wreath form. You can see here I didn't go all the way around. And then to adhere the bunny to the wreath form, I used my hot glue, but to give it that extra security, I just used some floral wire, and just by poking it through the back of the bunny, I just wrapped it within the, sort of poked the wire inside the wreath form and then just twisted around, and that bunny was not going anywhere. So after I'd finished adhering the bunny to the wreath form, you can see how I've done it there. I then started to add those beautiful Easter eggs that we had just created by simply using floral wire, and I just stuck it into the back of an egg and then poked it through the wooden wreath form and then twisted around the back. So again, those little Easter eggs weren't going to drop or go anywhere. I didn't want to hot glue too much down onto the wreath because I might choose to use that wreath form again for another project. So once I had started to decorate, you can see these beautiful yellow bell flowers. They really started to create this nice wispy romantic look to the Easter form. I love how they kind of pop out in all different directions as if they were just sprouting from the wreath. I thought it was so pretty, so romantic. And then I just added some extra little pink flowers that I found again in my craft room, just to give it an extra bit of colour. And then I finished off the wreath with this beautiful green and white polka dotted ribbon and created a little hook to hang this gorgeous bunny wreath. I absolutely love this. I think it is just so gorgeous. It's so spring-like, beautiful Easter bunny wreath that you can hang in your home or on your front door or off a beautiful wall or a shelf. I thought it turned out gorgeous. I hope you love it because I absolutely loved making it. So for my second DIY, I want to share with you how I made this adorable trio bunny wooden centerpiece. These are little bunny shapes made out of popsicle sticks. So to get started, you're going to need some wooden popsicle sticks. I just used the large size, some bunny templates downloaded from the internet, some vinyl, floral vinyl, some cardboard and some scissors and glue. Now to get started, I just simply traced out my bunny shapes onto the piece of cardboard and cut them out. Using my popsicle sticks, I just used my hot glue and laid down each popsicle stick on top of one after the other. What I'm trying to create here is a wooden bunny shape. Now these retail for way too much money in the stores, and I knew that I could make this if I was clever enough to think of a way to do so. So once I had hot glued all of the popsicle sticks onto my bunny shape on the cardboard, I simply flipped it over, and then using my box cutter, I traced around the shape, and then simply once I'd traced it over many times, or some wooden sticks were easier to cut than others, so some of them only took 2 passes, some took 3 or 4 passes, then the wooden sticks just literally snapped off. It was that easy. So it just depended on how much pressure I applied using my box cutter to the popsicle stick, but you can see here that it cut out pretty easily. I thought it would be much harder. So I proceeded to cut out the entire shape until I had my bunny form. Once I had the bunny form created, I then just lightly sanded the edges and created a second bunny. Now, to create my third bunny, I wanted to use this beautiful floral vinyl that I found in my craft store. It's a store called Spotlight, for those of my Australian friends who are wondering where I popped that from. But you can use you can decoupage your napkins, you can use craft paper, whatever floral shape you can find. And then once I had adhered my cardboard shaped bunny onto the vinyl, I then just made some little cuts all the way around the bunny and then just curled the vinyl around the edges to create a nice shape around the side. Then I wanted to give each bunny a little bow. I created 2 boy bunnies and 1 girl bunny, and then using this beautiful blue and white striped canvas ribbon that I picked up from a dollar store local to my neighbourhood, I, again using my hot glue, created 2 little loops, glued them down together, created a little jute twine bow to pop on top, and there you have it, these beautiful little bows. For my boy bunnies, try saying that 3 times. For my boy bunnies, I popped the bow on their necks, and for my girl bunny, I popped the bow on her little ear. Now, I wasn't happy with the edging of my girl bunny, so I decided to edge my girl bunny with some jute twine, and that gave it the nice little finish and also tied in the jute twine to the bow as well. I thought it just gave it a nice clean finish, and it made it really interesting and gave it that rustic farmhouse feel as well. Next, I used these tumbling towers to create the base of my bunny centrepiece. I didn't want these bunnies to stand upright, so I just took 5 pieces from my tumbling block tower pieces and I hot glued them together to create a straight line. And then to help my bunnies to stand upright, I just used another 3 tumbling block pieces to kind of create a backing that the Easter bunnies could lean against. Once I flipped the tumbling block form over, I just used my hot glue to attach the bunnies to that backing base, and it worked an absolute treat. Those bunnies stood upright. It was nice and solid because these particular tumbling tower blocks were quite large and steady and a little bit heavy as well, so it actually worked out quite well. Again, you'll notice I'm keeping with my blonde wooden theme, and I didn't stain the bunnies or the tumbling blocks as well. I wanted to keep it that natural light feel. I thought it worked really nice with those soft pink colours of the middle bunny. Now, my idea for this centrepiece was that I wanted these bunnies to look like they were sitting upright in a field of flowers or a beautiful meadow, and they were surrounded by greenery and gorgeous roses and flowers. So I just searched deep into my stash and found these gorgeous cream roses, some beautiful greenery, some baby's breath, some pink little dandelions and sunflower looking flowers, but they were pink, and I just proceeded to arrange these gorgeous flowers using that floral foam so that they could stick upright. So you can see me here arranging it so it looks like they were kind of popping out towards you, very 3-dimensional. I did that on purpose. I wanted this to look like a free-flowing centrepiece, and I think it turned out really, really super cute. I was so impressed. I feel like these colours are inviting. They scream Easter and spring. And then to finish the arrangement, I just popped in some of these little mini Easter eggs that I picked up at my local crafting store. And there you have it. A gorgeous trio of beautiful wooden bunnies sitting in a field of gorgeous flowers that you can display anywhere in your home. So for my last DIY, I want to share with you how I made this super adorable bunny garden planter. To get started, you're going to need a box base. I just upcycled a box that I had covered in popsicle sticks from a previous project, some wooden tumbling blocks and some material. Now, to cover the ugliness of the top of my upcycled box, I just used some of the leftover material from my first project in this series and created an edge using my hot glue. That noise you can hear in the background is my dog. He just went for a run and now he is huffing and puffing all around me and I can't get him to leave. So I apologise for that noise. Hopefully it's not too distracting. But I just then used my wooden material and I created a little sort of like a faux insert to my box just to hide some of the leftover glue that I couldn't get off my upcycled box. And I simply laid down some hot glue, a strip of hot glue on the inside of this, the base of the box, and I laid down the material and just folded it over and did that all the way around until I created a nice top edge to this box. Because this was a cardboard box covered in popsicle sticks, I did lose one of the edging pieces to the box, but I just grabbed another popsicle stick, cut it down, and then hot glued it to that corner and completed the design. Now, next I wanted to create a kind of a window using these wooden tumbling blocks. And using my tumbling blocks created a window frame design. You can make it as big or as small as you like. It really depends on the size of your planter that you're creating. For me, it was a relatively small planter base box design, so I didn't make the window shape too large, but large enough for me to be able to hang a wreath once I was completed with my design. If you're liking this video, consider subscribing to my channel and hit that bell so you can be notified every time I upload a video. For my existing subscribers, thank you so much for those wonderful, inspiring messages you leave me. I really do so enjoy reading them and seeing what you think of my creations, and I'd love to know whether you're going to create them yourself in your home. And if you're new to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. I love to create home decor and seasonal decorations and tablescapes. So to continue with my window frame, I did give it some supports so that I could glue it onto the back of the base of my planter. You can see that I used 3 extra tumbling blocks just to give it that extra support, and I ended up securing the window frame to the top of my box and not to the back of my box as I had originally intended. I wanted it to be a little bit higher so that I could put some floral arrangements at the bottom and not dwarf the size of the window frame. And then I realised that the box was tipping backwards, so I just gave it some extra supports so that it would stand up straight. And once I had decorated the entire centrepiece, it actually stood up perfectly fine. So I then mixed up a little bit of brown acrylic with some water to make a stain, and then I just, using a baby wipe, I then went over the entire base of the planter box. Even though I had already stained it, I just wanted to freshen up the colour and make it all coordinated so that it was all the same colour brown, because I can't really remember what I used to stain the original project base planter. So here you can see me staining the wooden tumbling blocks. It takes the stain really super well, and honestly, just using that baby wipe, I had the entire frame stained in absolutely no time. Next, I wanted to create a wreath form to hang off the back of my window frame. So I just used some floral wire. I actually used 3 sticks of floral wire, and then I made a circle, and then using the second floral wire, I started to wrap that floral wire around the original circle and made a few little loops every now and then so that I could use some of my floral stems and hook them around this wreath form. Then I used some of this gorgeous I think it's, yes, it's lavender. I use this beautiful lavender, and I started to create a lavender wreath form by simply inserting the floral stems into the little rounded hooks, and it stuck really, really well. But as I got towards the end of wrapping all of my florals around this wreath form, I did go back and used a few little snippets of floral wire and just twisted them around the wreath form just to secure it down and make it nice and circular. To complete my wreath form and make it extra Easter, I just hot glued some of these baby Easter eggs onto the wreath form. I created a bow using 3 different ribbons, some of this gorgeous cream lace ribbon, some of this green and white checkered ribbon, and a strip of the material that I used on the base of my planter. Using my hot glue, I created 3 little sweet shoelace bows, and I just adhered them one on top of the other. Now, I didn't want to put a hook into this window frame, so just using a snippet of a leftover floral stem, I created a little hook and I hung my wreath onto the window frame. I then used my hot glue to adhere the bow, and that covered the little hook that I created, and using a little flower that I found again as part of my Easter decorations, I just popped that in the centre of the bow. I also hot glued this cute little butterfly to the side just to give it that little extra cuteness to the design. As you can see here, it's really starting to come together. Using some floral foam, I just loaded up the bottom of the planter and then used some of this little raffia at the base to cover up the floral foam. Now, I found these 2 gorgeous little bunny rabbits in my local craft store, and I just couldn't resist them. They were absolutely gorgeous. And using the leftover Easter eggs that we created in the first project, I just used those Easter eggs to fill out some of those empty spaces around these little bunnies. You can find these bunnies in any craft store, really. They're pretty common to find, but they were sort of miniature size, and I thought they would go just perfectly in this planter. So I wanted to make it look again like I had my bunnies inside a little planter ready to pop out. Added some florals, some of that lavender and some of those roses and some baby's breath. And there you have it, a gorgeous, beautiful wooden planter with some little Easter eggs and gorgeous little Easter bunnies ready to decorate in your home and to give your home that extra Easter feel. I hope you've enjoyed today's series of DIYs for the Easter and spring period. I thoroughly enjoyed making them. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I hope you have a great week and look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.